Hello. If anybody's watching, I've never done this before, but I'm on the Boise Greenbelt right now, and right behind me is the Broadway Bridge that goes over the Boise River on Broadway Avenue. Okay, so 2 people are watching. Hello, beautiful people of the world. Yeah, it's a really nice day today, and I'm in Boise, Idaho, on the Greenbelt. There is a duck quacking right now. I really like ducks. It's the geese that I'm afraid of. I like the ducks because they're more cute and I'm less afraid of them than I am of the geese. So, so it's gonna take about an hour and a half. Because what I'm going to do is walk along the Boise Greenbelt, and then I'm going to go to the trailhead for Table Rock, and I'm going to hike Table Rock. And Table Rock is more challenging of a hike than the Greenbelt. Yeah, I really like to go for a walk. I walk a lot. It really makes me feel good. It's better than watching the news. Okay, so now there's 3 people. Hello. Yeah, so I'm in Boise, Idaho, and it's gonna take me about an hour and a half, but I'm gonna hike to the top of Table Rock, which is a mountain in Boise, Idaho. It's actually within the city limits. And there's a cross on top, and it's a difficult hike. So this is definitely a lot easier on the Greenbelt. So the Greenbelt goes along the Boise River, and so up ahead there is a good spot where I'll show you the river. There's a good view of it up ahead. Okay, so can you see the river? Yep, that's the Boise River right there, and I'm walking along the river, and so this is a nice little spot. So I'm gonna keep walking. This is actually a good spot to get in the river because there's steps. and it's a good access point, but I only get in the Boise River when it's 100 degrees out, and it's not 100 degrees, so So now I have two people watching. Craig Phillips is watching, or he lives in Boise. Hi Craig. Thanks for watching my live stream of the Greenbelt. I think this would be nice for people who don't have the day off. They could watch my video, pretend they have the day off. And oh, Barbara is watching. Hi Barbara, how you doing? And yeah, this is really cool. I've never done this before. Now I'm under another bridge. I think that this bridge is the Park Center Bridge, I believe. I think so, but I could be wrong. That would be so cool to live along the Greenbelt. There are some people who do, and also I see a for rent sign, so I'm going to show that because maybe somebody watching wants to rent this place. Let's see, do you see the for rent sign? There it is. So maybe there's somebody who wants to rent that place along the Greenbelt, and then you could just wake up, have your coffee, and then just walk along the Greenbelt. So there is a park up ahead. There's like a grassy area. It's not the biggest park in Boise. That would be in Morrison Park. But there's lots of parks in Boise. And it's about, I think about like probably like 60 degrees right now, which is really nice. But it seems like it's hotter because it's been winter and spring is springing, and so it's just exciting when you get like the warmest day of the week. Now I'm thinking about, there's this bridge I like to walk to, but it's a little bit out of the way from the pathway that goes to Table Rock. But I think what I'll do is go to the bridge just because it's cool, and then just do a little bit extra walking. But I really like the sound of the water. It's something I really like. And then it does get to be 100 degrees in Boise. And so it is much cooler on the Greenbelt and up in the mountains, such as Table Rock, which is where I'm going to be hiking. Now there's another hike in Boise. It's another mountain called Camel's Back. Now that one is not as challenging and not as high as Table Rock, but it still is a good hike. And also Hyde Park is a really cool area. I really like Hyde Park, Boise, which is near where Camel's Back Mountain is. So I see 2 geese. I'm scared. I really like ducks better, but there are a lot of geese in Boise. I don't know if you can see them. Oh, there they are. But they're just eating grass. And there's also a lot of squirrels and a lot of trees. And there's the squirrel. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, where did it go? Oh, there it is. It's kind of in the distance. Also, to the right here, there's like a nature center. Where if I can turn the camera. But there's a little pathway and they have like exhibits and stuff. And it's kind of cool. And they also have a pond with fish. But I'll stay on the Greenbelt. So I'm getting close to the park, which is a nice park to have events, hang out, have a barbecue. I believe it's called Settlers Park. I think that's the name of it, but I could be wrong. But there's a sign or a plaque up ahead that tells about the history of the park. Oh no, it's called Tourist Park. But, so yeah, that's the park. There are some kind of like old barbecue pits that have like stone. And also there are these things here, so if you break down on your bike, they have them along the Greenbelt so that you can fix your bike. I really don't know how to do it, but there is a pump on the bottom so you could pump your tires, so that would be really helpful to be able to have that. The sun is shining and there's not a cloud. Wonder how many people are watching me. Wow, that's cool. Well, hello, beautiful people of the world. Okay, so this is the barbecue pit. It's got like stone. It's kind of old, and here's more close up of it. I mean, that's kind of cool for a barbecue pit. And then, I mean, you could have a family reunion or any type of gathering. So one thing about me is I have like a major change going on in my life. I decided I wanted to like move somewhere overseas and teach English. And so I completed my course, my TEFL course. And then I was like, where am I going to teach? What am I going to do? And so I decided on Cambodia. And so I'm flying to Phnom Penh on May 19th. And so that will be interesting. I'm excited about it. And so I kind of wanted to film some of my city before I leave. And there's a nice view. It kind of goes down, looking down on the river. I think what I'm gonna do is walk closer up there so I can get a more close up. However, there is a goose there, so I don't want to get too close because that goose might come after me. Because I'm afraid of geese. If they're around, I go around. I don't get too close to them. And that really is pretty. So I'm in Boise, Idaho, on the Greenbelt, and I think I am gonna walk to this one bridge. So this is kind of a famous bridge because there's often people jumping off the bridge into the water. I don't know if that's gonna happen today. I won't be jumping off the bridge in the water, but often when I walk here, there is people doing that. So we'll see if that's happening. It might be too cold, probably more further along in spring and summer is more common for people jumping off the bridge. And sometimes people play music there, like someone will have a boom box, and somewhere along this section of the Greenbelt there is poison oak. And there's a sign.
You gotta speak to me, can't hear you. It's Lily's backyard behind that.
And then also the water company is up ahead, and there's also a bend in the Greenbelt path. And then before we get to the bridge, it goes along the golf course. I really like these kind of palm trees. like the color of the needles on those ones. Yeah, the trees, most of the trees do not have leaves yet. Well, except for the evergreen trees, of course. Usually, there's a lot of bikers, and they say on your left, and when they're passing from behind. But yeah, it's so beautiful right now. I guess you're seeing what's behind me, and I'm looking what's ahead of me. So here is the sign. Maybe I shouldn't get too close to it, but it says caution, poison ivy. So that's nice. So I have gotten poison ivy, poison oak before, and I like the part of it where it wasn't that bad, but it was still, there was like kind of like a red glowing, and it felt okay, and then it got worse and itchy. So I actually like the beginning of poison oak, if that's weird. And then this is the water company. That's their sign. They get some water from the Boise Greenbelt, or not the Greenbelt, but the Boise River. So right now, I am not going straight. I'm kind of turning. There's a little bend in the Greenbelt. And then also up ahead is one of the markers of the trail. And so I'll show that on the camera so you can see. I love the Boise Greenbelt, and it does go to Garden City, and I also love the Garden City part of the Greenbelt, but for some reason the Eagle part of the Greenbelt, it's just, I don't like it. I don't know, it seems like the Boise part is really pretty. There's a nice path to walk on. There's people who love it and enjoy the Boise Greenbelt, but it seems like an Eagle, I don't know, or maybe some people are gonna be mad at me for this, but it seems like Eagle is not proud of their section of the Greenbelt, like Boise is. I don't know, maybe there's some people who disagree, but that's kind of my sense. But yeah, I've lived in Boise since 2014, so I guess 11 years, and so that's kind of my take, but I might be a little biased towards Boise though, because I live here. So, but Eagle is nice too. So as I walk to the bridge, there is gonna be, oh, I can feel the heat. It's getting hotter, but there will be a nice view of the mountain of Table Rock in the background, which is where going to be hiking to the top. And I don't know, you might be able to see the cross in the background, but maybe not. Might be too hard to see.
Next trip is the girls' trip too.
So right now there's a fork in the path. If I went left, it would go to the trailhead for Table Rock. If I go right, it goes to the bridge that I was talking about. So I'm gonna go to the bridge and then walk back, and I can hear birds chirping. I don't know if you hear it, but yeah, that's something I really like. I don't know, birds chirping also just remind me of morning for some reason. I don't know if it's still morning. For some people watching, it could be night, it could be afternoon, it could be morning, depending where you are. There's trees in the way, so that's not really the main mountain. It's over there, but yeah, the trees are blocking the mountain. So actually, through the trees, the mountain's there, and then there's a cross on top of the mountain, the Table Rock Plateau. It's actually pretty cool. It's kind of like a table rock basically on top of the mountain, and so you just hang out up there, gaze down on the city of Boise, and you can drive up there from one way, but I've always hiked it. Oh, actually no, I think I have ridden up there a couple times, but most of the times I hike it. So I'm walking to the bridge. A lot of times I'll walk to the bridge and I'll look out over the bridge. There's usually like a group of ducks that hang out there. And then I've been looking, there's like the normal duck that I think of. That's like, I think the classic coloring, and then the really colorful one, or the mallard ducks. But then there's another duck, another species I saw, and I really don't know what kind of duck it is, but it's kind of white and black, and for some reason I don't remember seeing those, but I've seen them recently. So I'm getting kind of close to the bridge. Well, I can see the bridge, but what I'm gonna do is turn around so that way you can see the bridge. So here is the bridge that I'm talking about behind me, and so I don't think anyone's jumping off of it today, but oh, somebody said I look good. Thank you, Vince. Oh yeah, Vince lives in Boise. You know, I'm really a vain person, and I'm getting old. I'm 39 years old, and so much time I think that I don't look good, and I'm so and I don't like getting old. So saying I look good is really like compliments me a lot, like really makes me feel good. So there's a sign that says of what you can fish, and so I'm gonna show that sign. And what's interesting is there's a certain type of fish you can catch 25 per day. Wow. But so limit of two trout and then 25 mountain whitefish. Isn't that interesting? So you could catch 25 mountain whitefish, but only 2 trout. So they're trying to get rid of the whitefish in the river. But the trout are really cool fish. And there's also a rainbow trout. And I'm looking at the ducks. I'm gonna point the camera. I don't know if you can see them, but there's always, I don't know if you saw the ducks, but there's always like a group of ducks under this bridge, and I love ducks so much because they're just so cute, and just I love how they quack, and I just love how chill they are. So I'm walking over the Boise River, and then I'm gonna walk back, and then we're gonna head to Table Rock, and Table Rock will be different, because that's gonna be definitely not as flat as along the Boise River. But I'm excited. I don't know, there's something about climbing a mountain that I think is exciting, because you just look at the mountain and you're like, wow, I'm gonna climb that, and then you're like, wow, I can't believe I climbed that mountain. So I'm 39 years old, but I think I'm capable of climbing Table Rock. I've done it before. Maybe someday I'll be, yeah, I don't know how long I'll be able, but I'm still able to do it now, but I'm gonna be tired after. Also, because of the elevation, it really affects your legs and your muscles. It's not an easy hike. So if I make it look easy, which I probably won't, then it's not easy. And also, getting a tattoo hurts. I don't know, I have 4 of them, and I don't think I'm going to get another one. So I'm looking at the people watching me. That's so Vince, Oscar, Micah, and a lot of these people I know too, like Micah and Vince, and people I haven't seen in a little while too. And if I just met you, that's cool. I just met somebody new, and you're watching me in Boise, Idaho. And I'm just gonna turn around because what I'm looking at is so beautiful in the background. So I don't know if it's more beautiful looking at it than through the camera, but yeah, so That's a pretty tree. There's people golfing. So I wonder if the people are golfing that might be trying to focus. So there is a good view of the mountains. I'm going to turn around and show you. So the mountains up there. So I was thinking initially it would take an hour and a half to walk that portion of the Greenbelt and Table Rock, but it's going to take a little bit longer because I walked to the bridge, which was cool. I love that bridge and the group of ducks that always hang out there. But I'm thinking on ascending Table Rock, it will be a beautiful view because you'll see the elevation and you'll be looking down, and I think it'll be really cool. Once I get to the base, near the base of Table Rock is called the old Idaho State Penitentiary, and so I guess it's really like one of the requirements to become a state. Oh, Idaho became a state in 1890. But one of the requirements is you have to have a penitentiary. And the old Idaho State Penitentiary, which is near the base of Table Rock, is the penitentiary that Idaho used to become a state. And so there is a museum, or not a museum, but well, kind of a museum, I guess. But you can go in the penitentiary and get a tour, which I've never done, but I've heard that it is haunted, that there are ghosts there. And then there's also the Idaho Botanical Gardens is also near the base, and it was actually started by a former prisoner who really liked gardening and started the gardens before it became the Botanical Gardens. And then there's also a field also near the Botanical Gardens. It's called Outlaw Field, and of course Outlaw because it's near the old Idaho State Penitentiary. But they do have concerts there. Jewel played there, and other musicians have played there also. I don't know the capacity of Outlaw Field. I'd have to look that up, but I don't think it's super big, maybe like 10,000, 5,000. And as I get closer to the turnoff to go to the trailhead, I will turn around because there is a closer up picture of the mountain, and so you can see how big the mountain really is. And also the turnoff from the Greenbelt, it stops at Warm Springs Avenue, and so then I'll have to cross the road and go then there's a parking lot because there's some offices near the base of Table Rock too, and then we'll go through there until we get to the base. And so now I'm going to turn around. You can see the nets for the golf course so that the balls don't hit people on the Greenbelt. But yeah, there's the mountain there. Better picture. So yeah, this is exciting. My first live Facebook. So I'm walking along the Boise Greenbelt. Went to the bridge, and now getting closer to Table Rock territory. So we have the cutoff to the little section where it goes to where it ends in Warm Springs is actually a cool little trail. Lots of geese, lots of Canadian geese in Boise. They're all over the place in the parks near the Greenbelt, but they eat grass. Yeah, it's a little bit shaded on this portion that goes to Warm Springs Avenue, which it definitely does feel cooler, and it's because of the trees and the overhang. So behind me there are two ducks. So they're mallard ducks, and you can tell that it's a male duck and a female duck. And the ducks are so cool. I love ducks. They're so cute. And I mean, geese I'm very afraid of, but the ducks are beautiful. And I've wonder But yeah, I love ducks. I wonder if these two ducks are on a date or like what they're, but you can see. Oh my gosh. Whoa, there's a duck, a flying duck. I wonder. Yeah, I think ducks are so cool. So I am close to Warm Springs Avenue, and then I'll have to cross the street, and then from there we'll walk to the base of Table Rock. Somebody said, let's see, Alan said, thanks for sharing your local excursion. Haunted places sound fun too. Wow. So I was mentioning the old Idaho Penitentiary, which you can tour. It is haunted. I've lived here 11 years, and no, I have not gone on the tour. But I'm just now at Warm Springs Avenue. And across the road,
Warning lights activated. Vehicle warning lights activated. Vehicle may not stop.
and this truck is letting me go. That's nice. So I will do a little behind of the mountain. So this is walking up to the base. There's some different types of buildings. Like there's an agricultural building for the agriculture department, I think, of the state. I think there's a bishop's house, which is like an old house that's also at the base. There's some other cool things. And then there's also another trail coming back down that's different. There's a couple different trails to get to the top. And there's also a history center. There is the history center building, and then the mountaintop. I don't know if you can see that very top part, how you can see the rock that's like a table, and it is like a mesa up there, like a rock mesa. Yeah, everything is a little bit closer from my eyes than on the camera. I guess maybe I should zoom. Maybe not. So it's a little bit of a walk to the base. Looks like there is some construction going on. I don't know what they're doing there. And I'm gonna turn around and show the sign for the Idaho Department of Agriculture. So I can see the old penitentiary building. It's almost like a castle, and there's turrets. Maybe when I get a little bit closer, I'll show you. But it is really cool. It's very fortified. And I think the prison closed down in the 1970s. So it did stay open for a little while. So I think I'm going to turn around and show the current look of the mountain there. And then when I get closer to the old Idaho State Penitentiary, I will turn around so you can see it. the construction, I don't know if it's a parking lot for Outlaw Field or something for the botanical garden. There is a sign, and I'll walk over there, but it says "Pardon the Dust." That's funny. So I'm going to show that sign and show some pictures of the penitentiary. But it does say "Pardon the Dust." It's a construction. I think what I'm gonna do is walk up to get a good photo of part of the penitentiary. And then one of the houses is the bishop's house, which is an old house. There's not a bishop that lives there anymore, but there used to be. And it's actually a neat picture behind me because you can see almost like straight up just the mountain. But it is really cool. The turret of the old penitentiary. So I'm guessing probably they had a guard up there. But there it is there. And then it goes along there. There's another turret down there. And then there's more parts down there. And then going to get a picture of the bishop's house. I don't know if I can keep walking this way and get to the base of Table Rock, which is just really close by. But I'm just gonna walk this way anyways. I'll show. There's houses along here. These are old houses too. Oh, I'm sorry. What I was saying was the bishop's house is the warden's house. So we have the old Idaho Penitentiary, which you can see, and then there's the warden's house right there. I don't know what they use the warden's house for now, but it looked like there was somebody inside. So I actually think the bishop's house is prettier than the warden's house. But I'm gonna turn around here and show you the bishop's house, which is cool. It's like of the Victorian style. But I love Victorian houses. I used to live in Humboldt County in Arcata. If there's anybody watching from there. But especially for tuna, there is a lot of preserved, or no, Ferndale is where there's a lot. So here's part of the penitentiary here, and it's open, and so it's the administration building of the penitentiary. And So if you wanted a tour, that's where you'd enter there. But I'm scared because there's some ghosts in there, and they're angry. They've been in prison, and so this is interesting. So for the women watching, this is the women's ward. Women's ward. And so it looks interesting. And there's a date on there. It says, well, maybe I'll just walk in there. But it says "1920 Women's Ward." So that's interesting. Oh my God, I'm scared. But I'm walking into the women's ward, and wow, oh my gosh, this is scary. Wow. So this is right here, it says escapees. So these were women who escaped the prison. Wow, that must have been, oh my gosh. Well, that's bad to escape a prison. I wonder if they got caught from escaping or how long they were on the run. But, oh my God, there's like a bed in there and a toilet, but I don't know if you can see. Oh my gosh. And then here it says matron. So I guess that was the matron of the women's ward. I'm guessing. I don't know. And then here it says getting away with murder. The Idaho Daily Statesman. So I don't know if the people here got away with murder unless they escaped. Here it says the mindset of a murderess. Wow, that's crazy. Here's a picture. It says closing the ward. Interesting. War history. And then here it says showing a little leniency. And then here it shows daily life. And then also, I don't know if you can see, but the light fixture looks interesting. And of course, there's the old school heater there. Well, I'm a little bit less scared as first walking in there, but wow, that's crazy. Like an old prison. And then also this is a neat little shot of the wall. So then you can also see the wall here, and above the wall is where I'm gonna be hiking, like up towards Table Rock. So that was actually really cool. And I wonder if I can get through there and go to the trailhead, or if I'm even supposed to do that. I'm not sure. I think maybe I should just walk back all the way down. But I'm going to show a picture there of the penitentiary, the entrance where you can probably, I guess the women's ward is free just to walk in maybe, and like maybe the rest of the part you have to pay for the men's ward. I mean, what's up with that? That's kind of crazy. So I'm looking at another building. It looks like a solid building right here. Built in 1911, it says. But it's stone. It looks well built. It says it's a guardhouse. So, wow. So, I wonder, that was interesting going in the women's ward, how many escapees there was. Now I'm curious about the men's ward and how many escapees there was, and what it was like. But it was cool going in the women's ward. And this, I'm looking at a plaque. It says Sally Port, added in 1931 to help move goods and inmates in and out of the facility. So this is kind of interesting. But this, it says it's Sally Ward. So that's interesting. I would not want to work at a prison, nor would I want to be in one. So hopefully that never happens. I'm gonna do another shot of that. So that's the bishop's house, and then next to the bishop's house is the warden's house. So I wonder if the bishop helped with the prison to help for like rehabilitation. That would have been nice to have a bishop nearby. I don't really know the story behind that. There's the warden's house. And so now, walking back down to where there's another fork in the road, which I know does go to the trailhead. Now the trailhead's just right across, but there's like a fence there. I don't know if I'm allowed to cross over, and I'm just gonna keep walking down and just go the way I know how. But another picture of the turret. Now the cross on the top of Table Rock was erected in the 1950s. I do know a little bit about the history of why it was erected, and it's very interesting. So there was a time in Boise in the 1950s, and there's a book written about it. It's called The Boys of Boise. And it was written by an English journalist. Well, there's some noise from the construction, so I'm gonna talk about the Boys of Boise. But it was something that happened in the 1950s, and it was a time where people were not nice to each other. There was hatred and hysteria, and anyways, I'm gonna walk past all this noise. So another thing that's interesting, earlier I did show you the picture of the agricultural building. It's also, they have a diagnostic laboratory. I don't know if you can see the sign, but that's pretty cool. I don't know what they do there. So once I get past the noise, I'll continue talking about the 1950s in Boise, and which is when they erected the cross on top of Table Rock. And so there was a huge scandal. It's called The Boys of Boise, and it was in the 1950s. So there's a book written about it. It's called The Boys of Boise. And so what was happening is, and this is the 1950s. Okay, so the 1950s, I wasn't born, but some people were alive then, or remember it. So, but it was a different time. So anyways, there was a gang of boys. I don't know if they were gay, bisexual, or just trying to get money. I don't know. But what they were doing is this gang was, and this is really bad. And so some people did end up in the Idaho penitentiary for it. But what they were doing is for money, they were soliciting sex with older men who were gay, and then they were threatening the men for more money, saying that they would tell that they were like gay. They would out them, which was like a big deal back then in the 1950s. And then, or they would say that the man assaulted them and took their money. And so it was found out that there was gay activity happening in Boise in the 1950s. And so that was a huge deal, and people were like, oh my gosh. It was a huge upset. It was like people were very upset about it. And so what happened is they took it very seriously. And there was also a lot of hatred at the time towards people that they knew were gay or thought were gay, and people who were gay just got up and left because they didn't feel safe, and they went to Portland, San Francisco, Seattle. But there were mobs of people going on the streets wanting to hurt people. And so what's so fascinating about the British journalist is there was like a psychologist, and there's an investigation, and they're interviewing people, and the British journalist who happened to be in Boise was like, yeah, there's people who are gay and they're having sex, like, why are you making such a big deal about it? It was like, yeah, but there was so much hysteria, it was really bad. And so there were some church leaders who got together, and they said, we can have better ideals, we can be better people to each other and not have all this hate. And so they wanted to put the cross up, kind of because the 1950s and the Boise thing was a time where people had a lot of hate, and it was not good. And so they wanted to strive for better, and so these church leaders got together, and I think it was different denominations that put the cross up. I don't think it was one particular church, but that's my understanding of how the cross went up there. But I don't know the whole story, of course, and I mean, I could be wrong, who knows, but from what I've read and what I understand, that's kind of my what I've learned about it. But I love history, and I often just look up things, and then I'm like interested in something, and then I look it up even more, and I'm reading about random things at like 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, or at midnight. I don't know if anyone else does that, but now I think this is going to be a nice view because you'll see everything as I'm walking up. But now behind me is the old penitentiary. This is a little bit of a view of it, hiking part way up. Of course, and then I don't know if you can see, you can't quite see the cross up there in the video, but it will be visible once we get up there. So one thing I do like is sagebrush. There is some sagebrush, but this is typical Idaho landscape. I mean, it is. I actually feel hot right now. But there is a little bit of a nice little view, even just now, of the city of Boise. There also, I wonder if part of the reason why the penitentiary is here is because at the base is because they have a quarry, or they had a quarry up here near Table Rock. So maybe they were able to, it was close by to get lots of stone to build the penitentiary. That would make sense. But yeah, it feels hot, and it's only like probably like 60 degrees, but I'm used to it being colder, and it's gonna be so much colder when I move to, or so much hotter when I move to Cambodia. But it does, and there is a nice view here of some of the rock, and also there is a Table Rock quarry road, or not road, but trail somewhere along here. It's been a little while since I've hiked Table Rock. This is the first time I've hiked it this year, just because it's been so cold, and I don't hike Table Rock during the winter. It's more of a summer activity I do. And so this trail, as you can kind of see, it is difficult. It's not as flat as the Greenbelt, and it is a challenging hike.
Oh yeah, please.
And then it's even more steep, and you can see down here how it goes down in the ravine and how it goes up. This is not an easy hike, and more difficult too, being the first one of the year. And then there's some view down towards Boise, and also of the trail. What is neat about this hike is the elevation. The elevation is relatively steep, which does make the views nice. We'll do another little picture there. But yeah, I love it out here at Table Rock. So beautiful, and the challenge. And before hiking it, looking at the mountain and being like, wow, I'm gonna hike that mountain right there. So If anybody doesn't know, I'm in Boise, Idaho. I'm hiking Table Rock and climbing the mountain. So there's a couple different trails going back down from here. There's the one I took, which is where bicycles are not allowed. I don't know if you saw the sign there. And then there's another one that's for bicycles, but it can be dangerous on a bicycle or mountain bike or downhill, going down parts of Table Rock. And then also for somebody not on a bike, it could be dangerous. But yeah, usually every time I hike Table Rock, I'm usually not alone. There's usually other people hiking it, and then today a lot of people watching.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I was talking about the quarry earlier. So here's a picture of the quarry trail. But yeah, lots of people hiking Table Rock. And then there are some houses along, these houses are up in the mountains, and but it would be so cool to just leave your house and then be on the trail for Table Rock. But the roads to these houses are windy and steep. So for them to drive into town, it takes a little while. Almost easier just to hike Table Rock. But the Warm Springs Road, which I passed to go to the trailhead, there are some mansions along that road, some old mansions, which would be cool to see. That would be a cool video sometime. I just changing the angle of my phone. Okay, I think I got a better angle. I need to add a little bit further.
They have an unlimited amount.
So at some point, I'm gonna turn around. Just not turn around and walk back, but just turn around so that you can see the Table Rock Mountain and then if you can see the cross on top. So there it is there. So this part of the trail is not as steep. Well, now it's getting steeper, but there was like a flat area for a little walk for, and then yeah, down there is the city of Boise. So in a little bit I'm gonna turn around so you can see the mountain. I'm a little bit closer to where the mountain is. Also, you can see the sagebrush. I like sagebrush. I like the smell of it. Here's a picture of the mountain of Table Rock.
That's just silly of you.
So yeah, behind me you can see some of the buildings of the city of downtown. Yeah, Boise is developing a cool skyline. There are some high-rise buildings, and they're building more. The first high-rise was the Capitol, and you can still see the Capitol amongst the skyline. And you can see a crane down there too. They're building another high-rise. And then I don't know if you can see if it's too zoomed out in the camera, but you can see all the trees. And then that's why Boise is called the city of trees. But I don't know, I think it's because the founders and the people planted the trees. I don't know how many of them were original, because I think much of the landscape, not all of it, I mean there's some forests in Idaho, but there is a lot of the landscape that's sagebrush. It is high desert. So I really don't know what Boise looked like before they were, well, I don't know what it looked like when just the Native Americans were here, but I think Table Rock probably looks similar, because I don't think the landscape of Table Rock has changed that much compared to the city. But the air does feel fresh. I feel like I can see relatively far out into the distance. I don't know if you can see it, but the control tower for the air traffic control tower, you can see that's a little ways away from downtown, but definitely there is a sense of perspective looking down from the mountain. And we're not even to the top yet. So there's still definitely a little ways to go. But I think what I'm gonna do here, there's this sagebrush. I'm gonna take a little bit of the sagebrush and just kind of smell it and rub it. The fragrance is coming out. I kind of like to do it. I think less bugs stay off you if you do it. I don't know, but I like sagebrush, and there's so much of it. So I don't know, this picture, the cross is there, just looking over. The peak is just, I don't know if you can see it. And then also the view from here, looking down on the city, is really pretty. But if you have the opportunity to hike Table Rock, I would. It's cool, and it's also cool to see it with your own eyes. And here's a nice view. Well, actually, I don't know if that was a nice view. It's a view of the construction. There is a big ravine going down from here. I don't know if you can see the steepness of it. And then also behind me, it's kind of like a big rock there. But yeah, there's no snow on Table Rock. Looking in the distance, I can see some mountains that have snow on the very top. But there are some mountains that have snow. Stanley, Idaho, usually has the coldest temperatures of all of Idaho. So there might be snow up there. But like a week ago or so, there was some rain. So I'm sure some areas got snow. But it hasn't been as cold this winter and as much snow. There was one winter a couple years ago, because my birthday is January 13th, and all this snow dumped on my birthday, and it was the coolest thing ever. It felt like I was in a snow globe, and there was snow, like literally snow in Boise, and it was amazing. And so I was telling my mom, and she was like, you should make a snow angel. And so I did, and I took a picture of it. It's on my Facebook somewhere. So I am getting closer to the top, to Table Rock. I don't know if you can see the cross or not yet. One time I was hiking Table Rock and there was a snake. I got scared of the snake, and then it got scared. That was the only time I saw a snake on Table Rock. I don't think it's very common. So I wouldn't be worried if you do hike Table Rock. I think there's other hikes where there's a lot more snakes. And it wasn't a rattlesnake either. It was just a garter snake, I think. Now there's benches on the top that you can sit. But there's some natural rocks along the way where you could sit too. Might want to do that. So there is power lines going up Table Rock, and the reason is there's some kind of satellite, something at the top, think because the reception is good on the top, so it's a good place to have one. And then also behind Table Rock, there are some houses too.
I know. And I just like and I really like it. Another one is when you're in the pool and you're like acting out like a little kid and you said like, Mom is like sleep or something like that. They're actually gonna be in the pool. I know that's acting. Not a joke. That's another thing. You just cannot take it from your ear. Like sometimes you like listen. So if you
Yeah, that would help.
way more valuable
Up shelter.
still, like, we need to hike things
There is like a wooden little fence here. I'm gonna lean against it and rest a little bit. I'm gonna turn around. You can see there's Table Rock. And then the city of Boise behind. Feeling a little bit tired. But it is close. Definitely more than halfway there. For some reason it seems like there's more people towards this part of the trail than there was on the way up. Okay, I'm gonna continue hiking. So there it is, Table Rock there. Oh, you can see the cross now.
long he can sit for it. Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have more ways to go.
No, but did you drop something or lose something?
here is the cross at the top of Table Rock that I just hiked, and that you hiked with me in a way, those that watched. Here it is. Now I'm sitting on a rock and I'm relaxing on Table Rock in Boise, Idaho, looking down. Well, thank you everyone. That was my first live video on Facebook. Oh, my first live video. And so I'm not gonna record on the way back down, but I will record a little bit longer on top of the mountain. I'm gonna rest for a little while. Well, thank you for watching.